You said earlier today that you have the telephone number of Mr. Brown Mkhwanazi on your telephone.
That I have the cell phone number, yes.
Why?
It's because I've known him from 2017 and I've been using that number.
Why have you known him since 2017? And what do you use the number for?
Why didn't I?
Why have you known him since 2017 and what do you use the number for?
No, we're just talking...
About what?
Look, let me explain Brown Mkhwanazi. To me, there are more and more things that are coming out that I didn't know about Brown Mkhwanazi. I knew him just like I got to know you. Nothing else. Just know you as a member of parliament. Then we go on. And then in the course of time, especially recently, I got to know things that I never got to know when there were no current problems. And which then put that question to say, so why would Brown say he's at Lusisi with me and create that impression when it's not? Why would he take a posture that whatever he says to other third parties, it is because he has had a discussion with me and so on?
No, Minister, that's not what I asked you. You must please listen more carefully to the questions, and then we'll get done so much more quickly. I asked, what do you talk to him about? Why do you need to use his cell phone number? Not about what he says about you. I'm not interested in what he says about you.
That is part of my answer. That's part of my answer. But I can go on to say, we speak about ANC-related matters with him. But I know he likes throwing a lot of other things that have nothing to do with the ANC. That's when I normally don't answer him, or all the time don't answer him.
Okay. And you communicate with him on Signal, you said, amongst other things. WhatsApp and Signal.
That I do what?
You communicate with him on WhatsApp and Signal, you said.
Yes, because he said he has it and I have it.
Yes. So normally people communicate on Signal when they want to be sure that nobody else can read their correspondence. So what are you talking to him about that you're trying to hide?
Same matters, there's nothing more.
So this issue between General Mkhwanazi and yourself and Masemola and Sibiya, this is just a factional battle in the South African Police Service. Is that what we must accept? It's a battle for power. The head of the Hawks position is becoming available, or is available. Masemola is due to retire soon. Is this a factional battle? Have we been called here to sit here for days and hours on end to deal with a factional battle in the South African police?
Well, what has happened, which I know, is that when I issued directives, my view is that General Mkhwanazi took a personal stand against what I did for his own reasons. That's why, among other things, even when General Kumalo and others got arrested, Chief of Staff told me that he sent a message that gloves are off. As far as I'm concerned, the earlier response to what I'd done was personal, very, very personal. He took matters personal rather than as a police officer who would then engage openly. That's why there would be things like if he's clean and so on and all of those things. And when General Kumalo gets arrested, he then say, Chief of Staff must inform me that that gloves are off now. So in my view, all that has happened, the trigger on these matters that we find ourselves on here, the trigger is the directives. That's the first trigger. The second trigger is the arrest, where General Mkhwanazi kind of take a personal posture into matters of subs, which are not necessarily his personal, is part of that.
Yes, of course, he's got a job to do. Do you think that you are entitled, in terms of the prevailing legislation, to give the directive that you gave? Do you think that as minister you have that authority? Or do you think that you've overstepped the mark?
I have not exceeded the mark. I would not have done that if I ever thought that I would be operating or maybe operating outside legislation. I have never done so in the past. All my portfolios that I got deployed to.
It's fine, you've answered the question.
Yes.
Thank you. Did you discuss issuing this directive with Advocate Pikoli?
Yes, I did discuss with him. I didn't discuss him that I intend to. I said, here is the letter. This is what is contained here. Please comment. And he did comment, and then I proceeded.
What was his comment?
Well, his response was to correct certain matters. I can't remember this and that, but generally, part of the comment was that you are within the law, you are within the Constitution. It did make that comment.
Fine. Now, General Masemola has taken exception to your directive. He ostensibly gives effect to it, but in fact, as you call it, the National Political Killings Task Team is still functioning, according to General Masemola. So he has, in fact, disobeyed you.
I can't get your question clearly.
General Masemola says that he thinks that you can't give him this directive.
Oh, yes.
But he regards you as his boss, which I find horrific. And he will give effect to your instructions, but he has not done so. The task team has not been closed down. So what are you going to do about that?
Well, that took me aback. I was taken aback when National Commissioner spoke like that, because it means that it would have meant that, or it meant that, on one hand he agreed, on the other he didn't agree. When he sent the letter from his office, or when his office sent the letter on the 3rd, when he made the presentation, when he wrote to me on the 22nd, when he made the presentation or okayed the presentation on the 5th and the 6th, what I understood him to be doing was that we were in agreement that we have to wrap. I had no other hidden side or feeling that, in fact, he was not, were not together on the matter. He had not done that before.
The question, Minister, was what are you going to do about it? This other long story is interesting, but it's inappropriate. What are you going to do about it?
Well, I'm on leave at the moment.
The country is faced with what they regard as a national crisis. We're sitting here day in and day out, and you're on leave. The minister's on leave, and that's more important.
I didn't impose leave on myself. I am on leave. That is the fact of the matter.
Are you on special leave?
Yes, I'm on special leave. Thank you for that.
I see. So the hopes that we have of getting somewhere with this whole debacle, it's clear that we're not going to get anywhere with it.
That?
We're not going to get anywhere. The police are not going to be fixed. You're on leave. Masemola is on leave. Sabia is on suspension. Everyone's on leave or on holiday or suspended. And nothing's going to happen. And what must we do with all of this? The top structure of South African police are either on leave or in bed.
If I had my way, I wouldn't be on leave. I wouldn't even be here doing what I'm doing. I would be proceeding with the work that we're expected to do in subs so that people feel safer. So once these matters are aside and the President decides on post these commissions, then we are awkward at the moment, and things are not the way they should be, like being on leave and so on. But as I say, my wish is that I was carrying on with the work, implementing the structure and fighting crime
If we're
together
going
with
to
the
be
police.
waiting for the President, Minister, then we all know that we're going to be waiting a very long time. But you talk about people feeling safe. I just want to tell you this, that this afternoon, there was a mass shooting in Westbury in Johannesburg. 2 people are dead, and many children were injured, some of them critically. Nobody feels safe. And how does that make you feel?
It's a sad matter to get those news. And in police in South Africa, together with ministry, I know that you grapple with issues on your conscience that had you done this, possibly, this would not have happened. And it haunts you all the time. And therefore, I feel sorry and sad for what you are putting across. But the main thing is the sooner we get over this, the better. And there are more other ugly incidents that have happened as well. And all of them, those that are said, we feel they are a letdown to the country.
Let me tell you what I think the problem is with the police, Minister, and then you can comment on it. When General Masemola was here, he is the only general in the South African Police Service. Everybody else is a Major General, Lieutenant General. He's the only general in the South African Police Service. He's the head of the South African Police Service. He walked out of the room we were sitting in at the Good Hope Chamber to go and chat to some of the police who were sitting around there. I don't know what they were doing. There seemed to be an inordinate amount of police sitting around not knowing what they're doing. While everyone is here. He walked over to a group of policemen. I'm not sure what their ranks were, but they certainly weren't anything close to his. One was draped across a chair. One was sitting on the table. One was leaning against the wall. And when the only general in the South African police approached them, not one of them even stood up straight, let alone came to attention. Now, what do you make of that lack of discipline, lack of authority? There was no reaction from General Masemola. He accepted their disrespect without even batting an eyelid.
Well, I listened to you when you were speaking to him about who is the boss and all of that. But what I felt was that there's no inclusion of boss in the constitution and all of that in the legislation, in the legislative framework. But this is to say, General Masemola is the only general, as you say. I agree with that. And he has authority. And that authority is there to be exercised, well, with the assistance of others, including ministry and so on. I believe that there's a lot to do to improve performance, quite a lot. And it can be done. Because if it is not done, if this is the climax, if this is the best and this is the only thing, then it would mean that we do have a problem, or South Africa does have a problem. So there's room, from where I sit, to do quite a lot of improvements. And we have pointed some of those out to General Masemola.
You mentioned, it may have been yesterday, all these days morph into one, it feels like a lifetime, about a particular clip on the tape that you referred to that demonstrated that you were in fact threatened. Now, you haven't been able to produce that. Why not?
No, I have explained. You may take, you may not take the explanation. General Mkhwanazi had a conversation with Chief of Staff on the 2nd of January. And one of the things they spoke about was to say that if minister is clean while he was premier and so on, so he can go on with the directives.
I know what he said. I want to know why you can't identify where it is on the tape so that we can hear it.
No, at that time, he had not started recording. He only started when they continued with the conversation in other days, like on the 3rd, on the 4th, and on the 5th.